Welcome to the Q.A.C. Team Podcast, your quality assurance consulting team. Quality is our highest priority for your business with one goal, one direction, success. And now here's your host, Charles Luttrell. Good afternoon, listeners. Alicia, good afternoon.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on the Q.A.C. Team Podcast today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Chuck. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm anxious and ready to hear this story. So tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I just thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Alicia Hamilton, and I am a founding member and the current executive director of Fresh Start Furnishings. We were formerly Found in Faith Ministries, but we recently went through a rebrand just to make sure that people in the community can find us and more clearly identify what we do when they see our name.
That's very, very cool. So tell us a little bit more about the business. What do you do? How do you handle things?
Yeah. So Fresh Start Furnishings is a 501c3 tax exempt nonprofit. We are located in Harford County, Maryland, that in Aberdeen, actually. We just moved to Aberdeen from Joppatown in this past December. And our focus really is on transforming empty houses into homes. And we do that by collecting furniture and home goods donations that people, are looking to get rid of or repurpose, recycle. They don't have a need for anymore. And instead of those items going to the landfill, we repurpose them and pass them along to people in our community that don't have them and can't afford the big expense of furniture and home goods, especially nowadays when housing is so incredibly expensive. A lot of people
Absolutely.
are, yeah,
Yeah.
they're going without to pay their BG&E bills and their water bills, and they're sleeping on the floor and have
Yeah.
clothes piled on the floor and eating on the floor and just doing everything on the floor, and that's not a really great way to live, or a very dignified way to live.
Absolutely.
So
And
yeah.
yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I was under the assumption you were just furniture only.
Oh
So
no,
you
yep.
do
So we
more.
have a bunch of home goods as well. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Anything from bedroom and bathroom linens, towels, sheets, comforters, all of those things, to small appliances, crock pots, microwaves, toaster ovens,
Hmm.
all your kitchenware, dishware, even some home decor items, although we're happy to take them when we get them, but we don't, we would get overrun. I
Yeah.
think if we put out a call for that. But just even things like pictures, decorative pillows, those sorts of things that just make a home feel a little bit more cozy and
Right.
give our clients an opportunity to express their personal style, even if they can't necessarily, afford to pick out everything they would absolutely love to have in the regular home goods store.
Right. Right. That is so
Yeah.
cool. Very, very,
Yeah.
very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, why did you decide to be a business owner?
Well, um, this mission really, I feel I was called to. I am a woman of faith, and I was working in foster care some years back, and one of the foster care girls, she had gotten a place of her own through an independent living program. She was 18 years old, and she was just so excited. And she's like, "Miss Alicia, I got my place. I can't wait for you to see it." And I was like, "Well, send me some pictures." And she did, and with the exception of a twin mattress on the floor, everything else was empty. She
Mm.
had, just had nothing except in her closet. Her closet looked great, but that
Full
was
of
about
clothes,
it.
right?
And yeah, that was about all she had. And she
Oh,
did have hangers at least. But still lots of stuff on personal items on the floor and whatnot. And
yeah.
I asked, how are you gonna get the things that you need? And she said, well, the program gave me a $300 gift card to Walmart. And I was like, oh, great. Because I knew that wasn't going to get her very far. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, so I reached out to, I was doing CrossFit at the time, and I reached out to that community and just shared her story, and she had a really tragic upbringing, but she had a lot of potential. And a week and a half later, I had a truck full of stuff going out to her. And
Wow.
so we were able to furnish our apartment with, sofa, recliner, coffee and end tables, got an actual bed up off the floor, lamps, just dresser, all the basics
Right.
that make a house feel more homey and comfortable. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Right.
that was the start for me. And then I just kind of started connecting in the community, and finding out who else was doing that, was meeting that need in Harford County specifically, because that's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
And I found two other churches that had basically, like, it was a furniture ministry essentially under their church umbrella.
Nice.
And just, yeah, just
Yeah.
ladies in the community, that same thing, God put this mission on their heart, and they were
Uh-huh.
doing the best they could to meet it. But we ended up getting together, and found another organization in Baltimore County that was already doing this, and kind of modeled off of them, and decided that there was enough need in this county, and that we could be more effective as a nonprofit. So that's what we decided to do: recruit a
Right.
board and get our tax exempt status. And then
Right.
we've been off to the races ever since. That was
And
in 2016. We were founded. In 2018, we got our official designation.
yeah, I was gonna say you got started. What year did you get started? But you got started in 2016. That's really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we moved in February 2018. We moved into our first commercial warehouse space.
Mm-hmm.
Although I like to call it a showroom, not a warehouse.
It's a
But we were in
showroom, folks.
Joppa. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's really important, I think,
Yeah,
for
I think
the people
labeling
that we
that is that
serve.
right. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a good way to change the way we perceive things, right? As a warehouse versus showroom, right?
right. Yeah.
I like
And
that.
so we've done our best to set it up just as close to a regular furniture store as we can.
Hmm.
So that way, when people come to, for their pickup appointment, they can, shop in air quotes for the things that they need.
Hmm. Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. So I'm going to assume because we talked about why you decided to be a business owner. So was that young woman that got you started was was she the reason why you chose this industry? Because that's my next question would be, why did you choose this industry?
Um. Yeah. Well, so human services in general, for me, my own personal history. Uh, I was adopted as a young child, and lost my parents at a young age, and was adopted by my grandparents. And
So
then,
sorry to hear that.
yeah, that I appreciate that. Thank you. And then be just from that kind of whole experience, I kind of got
Mhm.
off track as a teenager. Was running with a little bit of the wrong crowd, and found myself pregnant at 19. So I became a mother very early on in life. By 21 years old, I was a single mother, and had been through domestic violence, all of that.
Mm,
And so I was just um, kind of living life, and trying to keep my bills paid and all. And I eventually ended up going back to college for a completely separate sort of uh, degree in commercial interiors, and found out just how much that was going to cost in the long term. And I ended up deciding that that wasn't the best uh, financial decision
mhm.
for my little small family. So I ended up deciding that I thought initially I wanted to work with kids in
Mhm.
bereavement who had lost someone, but I found out that that was a little still too close to home.
Yeah.
But I've always had a heart for girls in well, just kids in foster care in general, but specifically the teenagers in foster care, because that's when I really kind of went off track myself, and so I wanted to make a difference, for other kids that didn't have that strong parental support in their
Uh-huh.
life. So that's kind of how I found my journey here. And then oddly enough, I feel like God kind of crossed over that interior design component just from a social services
Ah,
perspective. So
yeah, that's kind of, they
yeah,
tie together pretty well, don't they? That's pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So,
nice.
but yeah, that's how I found myself here, and I love serving people. I love helping people move their lives forward, and
Hmm.
when they come to us to get furniture, they really have some momentum going. They've
Right.
gotten a roof over their head. That's such an important basic need.
Yeah, the
Component
first
of.
step, right? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
amazing.
us helping
Yeah.
them to get the furniture is really, we really do transform that empty house into a home, and that when they open their door at the end of the day, they have a place that they can feel comfortable and relaxed. And from a
Hmm.
psychological standpoint, I think that does, wonders
Yeah.
for people to continue on that path, and to continue their next steps towards whatever goals that they're shooting for.
Right. Absolutely. And this is why I love what I do. I love interviewing business owners because the story is so humbling because, you talk about what you do, you talk about your own story and where you came from, and how you connected those dots together to help other people. It's just amazing, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, what were some of the challenges that you faced early on when you were trying to put this together?
Uh, well, I can speak in hindsight, right? I would say just from, starting a nonprofit in general, and just general lesson I learned from life is always start with the budget. If you've got a big dream, goal, plan, whatever, start with the budget and figure out how you're going to fund that budget.
Hmm.
We were very, all of us, all the ladies that founded this, we're all servant artists, very, very focused on serving others.
Hmm.
But it does take money and resources to do that. And that's not essentially where we started. So, um, even though we're here today, and we've furnished over 1,260 households in the past 5 years, we've really been operating, which is amazing. We're still working on building up the reserves to keep us going and to
Yeah.
sustain all of the efforts that we've done.
Hmm.
And so uh, I think what a lot of people, I hear so many good hearts, and people want to start a nonprofit, and they want to start a nonprofit because they want to help people and they want to serve.
Yeah.
When we first started, I was the one picking up sofas and dropping off dressers, and I was very hands on in that regard. But uh, to actually run a nonprofit, it is very much like a business on the back end. So my role today is much different. Mine is, a lot of mm, computer work and, behind the scenes sort of things, and
Mhm.
marketing and spreadsheets and managing budgets and board development and all of these other things that on the back end go into running a nonprofit or any organization.
Right.
So yeah, so I think that's the biggest challenge, is just being able to understand and look at the big picture even from the start. Because if you start a nonprofit, eventually it's going to require you to manage the nonprofit.
Yeah.
And that management role is much different than that direct service role.
Hmm.
And if you're going to be able to manage it with any effectiveness, you're going to have to get paid for the work that you're doing, unless you're one of the very few that just has all the time to give and all their back end, life taken care of by some other means.
Right.
That's
Sure.
a great situation to be in,
Right.
but
Right.
that's
Absolutely.
not the reality for most people. So
Right. So, are
yeah,
you
yeah.
hands on with like the things that you do to raise money and to get donations coming in? Are you part of that as well?
Yes. So we actually recently just brought on a very part-time development director. So I'm technically part-time ED right
Hmm.
now, working full-time. I do have other things on in the background that I do to maintain my personal situation. But
Hmm.
as far as the organization, we just brought on a part-time development director to assist with that. because it really is a full-time job in itself. Managing those donor relationships,
Hmm.
leading. We have our first ever annual signature event coming up in April. I'll do a little plug for that right now. It's called Tapas and Treasures, an evening to benefit Fresh Start Furnishings.
Nice.
And and it's going to be April 26th, 2024 at Mountain Branch Golf. So, so that's exciting because this is our first big event that we've done, and it's probably going to be our only one throughout the year, unless we do maybe smaller, more client focused.
Hmm.
But that's going to be our big fundraiser.
Nice.
And yeah, and grants is another another piece of funding the organization, and then also just connecting with people in the community that um, that feel a same calling to this mission and to helping to meet this need in the community.
Right.
And people that have a strong sense of home and value home, because
Right.
that's really that's what we're helping to give people,
Hmm.
and that makes an impact in their lives every single day.
Right. So anyone can stop by your location and donate items?
Money,
How
of
does that work?
course. But no, with in-kind donations of furniture and home goods,
Uh-huh.
we actually have an online donation form. It's right on our website at freshstartmd.org. And so if somebody's interested in donating, they can go on, fill out the donation form, and our donation coordinator will follow up and get them scheduled for an appointment to either come drop off, or if they need pickup, we do have free volunteer pickup, is how I like to word it.
Hmm.
But there are many requests for that. So our waiting list is generally around 6 to 8 weeks. It takes a little while.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people, fortunately, there is no shortage of stuff.
Right.
That is a good thing. There's plenty of stuff, but
Hmm.
the logistics of getting it, from the people who have it to the people who need it, can take some effort, and
Right.
that's really our role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds very interesting. So you got a lot going on. Keeping busy.
Yes, yeah, definitely keeps me busy. Well, we've
Yeah.
had in the past couple of months, our donation or requests for uh, application requests have almost doubled.
Hmm.
So while that's great, that means that people are getting into places and getting housing. That's a huge win. On our end, it takes some. Uh, it's taking a lot more to process those people and to get the donations in the door in our showroom so that we can serve them.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, but we're definitely seeing an increase in need across the board, which again is why we're looking at doing these other things to build our organizational resources so that we can meet the bigger need that we're seeing.
Right. Right. And are you seeing like specific needs, like certain areas, like really bedroom or kitchen related, or is it just kind of like general? Hey, look, I'm getting a house or an apartment. It's 1 or 2 bedrooms.
Uh,
what do your requests look like?
Yeah. So really, it's the essentials across the board. Most of our people request dining tables, dressers, and sofas. Those are the main. We do get a lot of requests for beds as well. And that is something that we're a little different from other nonprofits, is that we can accept a used mattress donations, of course, in good condition. We don't want anything with ripped stains, tears, or anything that you wouldn't want to sleep on. Other
Right.
people don't either.
Absolutely.
But yeah, but there's so many people are downsizing all the time, and they have that guest room that's had maybe 5 people sleep on the bed, that sort of thing.
Right.
But yeah, but because we're not selling the mattresses, we are able to just take them in and give them away. So we do get a lot of requests for beds as well.
Yeah, it's a big help, isn't it? Because people need a place to lay their head at night. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I've been asked recently, what's our impact, and do we follow up with clients? We don't have the bandwidth to do that currently,
Hmm.
although we'd love to long term. That's part of the big term vision. But and does a sofa necessarily equal someone being self-sufficient in 6 months? Not necessarily. But
Hmm.
every day that you as an individual use a piece of furniture is a day that our services are making an impact in
Hmm.
people's lives. So, imagine sleeping on the floor for 6 months because you don't have a bed. That's going to impact the rest of your life in a negative way.
Yeah, let me
And just the
tell
same
you.
with having a bed. Yeah.
Let me tell you, if I slept on the floor for a night, I'd be dead. Oh my gosh. I have a bad back. There's no way I could do it.
Right, right. Yeah, and so do a lot of the people that was
Yeah.
we have oh, that's another part that I think is kind of special about us is that everybody needs furniture. We serve such a diverse group of people,
Hmm.
from DV survivors that are relocating, to people in recovery that are starting over, to people with disabilities that are living on a fixed income and just simply do not have the funds to pay for things. Seniors, same thing. The seniors, they break my heart because
Yeah.
they, it's it's very sad to me that someone can be on the downhill of their life and still kind of be in the survival mode place where they don't have all their basic needs met,
And it
but
seems to
so
be
we
getting worse
try
by
to
the
help with
day
them.
too, right? And it seems like as days go by, it gets worse and worse. Like we're not getting better, you know?
Yeah,
It's
well,
unfortunate.
we're not taking on that mission.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's a little bit bigger systemic,
That's a whole other problem, right? But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
unfortunate, it really is. And I agree with you, and it's great that you're able to, have this mission and help out when you can help out, That's a really,
Yeah.
really good thing that you're doing. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, clients do, this is a regular question that we get asked. People do have to apply to our program. It's an income-based program. So, but we set our income levels higher than the general, like food stamps and those other sorts of programs
Hmm.
because there's so many people that are living paycheck to paycheck that don't qualify for a lot of those other social service programs, but they
Right.
still absolutely need support. That's
Hmm.
what United Way calls the Alice population.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, they're the paycheck to paycheck, the working poor, the I'm going to pay BG&E this month and water next month and kind of juggling and things like that. They don't have any room to save either. So
Yeah.
we like to make the services available to them as well. Again, because there's so much stuff, there's people always have items that they're getting rid of or, w- for whatever reason they don't need anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's such a great program. So how do we
Yeah.
contact you? How do we find you?
So I would say best thing is to go to our website. It's www.freshstartmd.org. Also, our phone number is 443-519-2464. And we do serve primarily Harford County. So if someone's not in Harford County, but they're still looking for services, we're happy to connect. There's a couple of different programs in Baltimore County and on the other side of Baltimore County towards DC area. So we'll refer out when we can if
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah. Any plans of branching out beyond Harford County for you guys specifically?
At the moment, not necessarily.
Yeah.
No.
You have enough going on, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. We're seeing an increased need here, and I
Yeah.
and I, I see room for us to grow here. We're a very important part of the county's continuum of care here. All of the major housing organizations like Hartford Family House and
Mhm.
SARC and Anna's House and Hartford Community Action Agency, they all refer to us and they all count on us to help them meet their mission.
Right.
So, yeah, there is need all over the place, but sometimes the best thing you can do is just kind of focus, keep your focus.
Right.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's what we're working on right now. And who knows, maybe one day.
Right.
Maybe one day.
Very inspiring, Alicia. I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story. It's been a very good very good interview. I really appreciate it. You're doing good
Awesome.
things.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for the opportunity to share with your audience.
Absolutely. Really appreciate it. Alicia, thanks again for coming on. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Continue doing good things.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care. You've been listening to the Q.A.C. Team Podcast with your host, Charles Luttrell. Connect with us on the web at qacteam.com, Facebook and Instagram at qac.team. Thanks for listening.